really wish I could play Christmas songs over the top of all this video and not get copyright striked. Hey everyone, my name is Chloe, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here today. Today's video is going to be the Christmas song book tag. So actually I thought this one was quite fitting to do because the idea of Bookmas, as far as I know, the inspiration that I have for it is from Hayley in Bookland, and she also created this tag, so I will link her original video down below. But yes, this one is a book tag where all of the questions are related to Christmas songs, because who doesn't love Christmas music? And I know plenty of people don't actually love Christmas music, but yes, it's fantastic. I will have my playlist on all the way through from now, which is the middle of November, up until the end of December, because Christmas music, we all need it in our lives. It just brings joy and festivity. Anyway, that is my plea to get you all to listen to more Christmas music. I will now actually talk about the thing that you are here to hear me talk about, and that is books. So the Christmas song tag has got 14 questions, and I have got a stack of books at the side of me to talk to you about. So shall we get started? Yes, we shall. So the first question is, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Name a villainous character that you couldn't help but love. And by the way, all my answers I'm going to try to have be books I've read this year. So for this one, I'm going to have to go with Jax from Once Upon a Broken Heart. So Jax is a character that is in the Caraval series, and I can't say too much more about that because it will be spoilers for the Caraval series, but he is also in Once Upon a Broken Heart. He is the Prince of Hearts. The main character eventually makes a deal with him where, in order to stop the love of her life getting married to someone else, she agrees to give away 3 kisses of his choosing. And it's only when after the first one is given away that she realizes that there might be a little bit more to this. And I would say Jax is one of those sort of in-between characters where you do love him, but you know that deep down there is some sort of sinister plot going on and you're not entirely sure what it is. And yeah, I love him as a character. I loved him in the Caraval series, and I'm very happy that he is a character that has sort of spun off into his own world. And yeah, had to be Jax for this one. It's the only one that came to mind, really. The next question is, all I want for Christmas is you. What book do you hope to see under your tree? I don't actually generally ask for books for Christmas. Basically my family know that if I really want a book, I'll just go and buy it myself. I'm impatient. So I don't tend to ask for many. So I don't really have one for this at the minute. I suppose if I was going to ask for something, it's usually like a special edition of one of my favourites, or just special editions of books that I haven't read yet that I really want. Like for my birthday, I got bought the Greenbone Saga from Illumicrate. So whatever special edition Illumicrate's going to announce soon is probably what I'm going to want underneath my tree. But at the minute, there's nothing that I've got my eye on, so we're okay. Question number 3 is, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Name a character that overcomes major obstacles and learns to believe in themselves. So for this, I am going to pick 2 characters actually, and that is Ruben and Zach from If This Gets Out. Now I know this one doesn't actually come out until, is it early next year it's been moved to now? It keeps getting moved around. But I read it earlier on this year, I got an arc of it, and Ruben and Zach are basically 2 boys that were in a boy band together. One of them is gay and he is out to his family and friends, but he's not allowed to be out to the general public. The other one sort of discovers things about his sexuality throughout the book. When he gets a little bit closer to Ruben throughout the story, it is just an adorable story about 2 boys in a boy band who fall in love. And yeah, Zach in particular kind of discovers a lot about himself throughout this book, and they both have to overcome some pretty major obstacles to be able to sort of live the life that they're wanting to live. And I feel like the learning to believe in themselves works because throughout this story they kind of learn how to sort of take control of their life a little bit more and speak up for what it is that they believe in and what it is that they want. And I really suggest that all of you read this book as soon as it is actually available in the world, because it is so good. Question number 4 is, Santa Claus is coming to town. Now there are technically 2 questions for this. It is, name a character who you would think would be top of the naughty list, and name a character who you think would be top of the nice list. So for the naughty list, the book that I read this year that pretty much every character in it belongs on the naughty list is Vengeful by V. Schwab. This is the second book in the Villains series, which I believe is going to be a trilogy eventually. And yeah, every character is morally grey in this story, and particularly Eli Ever he's not a great person. He thinks he's doing right, but he's doing it by some very sort of questionable means. Basically about a world where people develop superpowers by having sort of near-death experiences, and the main two characters, Victor and Eli, decide to experiment with this this whilst they are in university, and one thing leads to another, and one of them ends up in prison. And at the beginning of the first book, he is just being released from prison, and he is going to track down the other one because he believes it is all kind of his fault. And it's told in multiple timelines throughout, so it all sort of jumps back and forth. And yes, pretty much nobody in this book is kind of completely good or completely bad, but I think when you read it, you do end up kind of siding with Victor a little bit more than Eli. So Eli in particular would be at the top of the naughty list, but Victor's probably on there as well, to be honest. And then for a character that is top of the nice list, I'm gonna have to go with Linus from House and Cerulean Sea, because he is just such just a lovely character. He's so nice. He's working for what is essentially a social services department. He is sent to go and inspect this orphanage where all these children with magical powers live, and they are supposed to be dangerous. But when he gets there, he kind of finds his own little family within there, and with the gentleman who runs the orphanage as well. And it's just such a lovely book, and Linus is just such a lovely character. And yeah, I think he deserves to be at the top of the nice list because he is adorable. And that leads really well actually on to the next question, which is Frosty the Snowman. Name a book that just melts your heart. And I'm gonna have to say House in the Cerulean Sea again. I'm trying not to repeat books, so I will also say Under the Whispering Door. They are very much the same type of book. They're both by TJ Klune. They are both quite whimsical and just cute and lovely. This one is about a character called Wallace, who was a lawyer in life and was not particularly well liked, did not have many friends, anyone particularly close to him, and he ends up passing away, and he is then taken to a way station where again he kind of finds his own little family while he is figuring out the sort of in-between life and death. And I recently finished this book and I really adored it. I gave both of these ones 5 stars, and yeah, they both just kind of melt my heart a little bit. I love them. So the next question is question number 6, which is Feliz Navidad, which is name a book that is set in a country that is not your own. And I mean, most of the books that I read could be answers for this because I read a lot of books that are set in America. There was a couple that were set in Canada this year as well, but all sort of Northern America, and I thought I want to do something a little bit different from that. So I decided to choose Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I read this one right at the beginning of the year, and this is set in Prague. So definitely not in the same country that I live in here in the UK. This is about a character called Karou, who has kind of been raised half in the human world and then half in this magical world, where she sort of works as an errand girl for a character called Brimstone. And basically one day all of the doors to the magical world start to close, and she loses contact with the sort of family that she's created for herself there, and it is about what happens when she tries to get access back to that world. And I'm not going to explain anything else because major spoilers. It goes in such a different direction from there. There is like major things that are revealed within this book that then completely change the direction of books 2 and book 3. But I adored this series. I really loved the setting of it as well. So it made me actually want to go and visit Prague at some point. So I think this one works for a country that is not your own. Question number 7 is, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Which holiday themed book do you use to spread the Christmas joy? It's got to be the Christmasaurus. You're gonna see this book throughout a lot of these videos because I adore this book series. I am a big Tom Fletcher fan. I'm definitely biased. I love McFly. I've seen them in concert many times, and I'm really annoyed that I didn't get tickets to see them this year. But I do love Tom Fletcher. I do love his writing style. I think it is the perfect writing style for a children's book. I always say it's the type of book that I would like to have had as a kid. It is very funny. It sort of talks to the reader as well, so it makes you feel really involved with it. And it's basically about this boy called William Trundle who ends up befriending a Christmas dinosaur, and it's just about their adventures together. There are 3 of them in this series now, so this one is the first one, which is about him meeting the Christmasaurus. There is also the Christmasaurus and the Winter Witch, which, as the name would suggest, is about a winter witch as well. And then there is Christmasaurus and the Naughty List, which I haven't read yet, but I will be this month, and that one is about William finding himself on the naughty list and having to go on an adventure to try and get himself off of it. And yeah, I really adore these books, and I just think they're really fun, and you can read them in like a day, so why not? Question 8 is Sleigh Ride, which is, which fictional character would you like to spend the holidays with? And this can be a sort of in a romantic way, it can be in a platonic way, whatever you want it to be, but I am going to be picking One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston because the sort of roommates in this, the like found family that happens in here, is perfection. I love this so much. The ensemble characters with what really made me fall in love with this book. So I would love to spend the holidays with this cast of characters. All of them just seem like so much fun, and I just think it would be a great time. So definitely Will Not Stop. The next question, I struggled to answer at first, and then I found an answer for it, and now I feel bad, because the question is, Baby It's Cold Outside, which book that you didn't like would you sacrifice to the fire to warm yourself up in the cold? Right, so this book, I'm going to say objectively is not a bad book. I'm just very angry for what it did to this book series, because every single relationship that was set up at the end of book 1 was dismantled in the first 30 pages of book 2, and we were just supposed to go along with these new relationships that were set up instead, and apparently it's only a duology, so this is where it ends. And that is American Royal's Majesty by Catherine McGee. There's nothing wrong with how this book is written in general. It's the same sort of fluffy, ridiculous cheesiness from the first one that I really enjoyed. It was just what she did to the relationships. I don't understand it. So yeah, this one, I'm sorry, apparently you're getting burned. I don't actually condone book burning, I will say that. But yeah, I'm angry at this book. That's what it is. And it seems like such a stupid book to be angry at, because like it's a fluffy like YA contemporary. I shouldn't be getting this annoyed by it. But seriously, right, I'm gonna move on. So the next question is, do you hear what I hear? And it is in happier news. It's what book do you think everyone should read? And let's go from the book that made me angry to the book that makes me the happiest. And it's Heartstopper. I have to get Heartstopper on here at some point. I haven't spoke about it in a while. This is volume 4. This came out this year. There are slightly heavier topics discussed in this one, but it is still all the light and fluff and loveliness I want it to be. And basically it's about two boys called Nick and Charlie who meet at school and they fall in love, and it is just about their relationship, and it is adorable. And volume 5, the next one that comes out, is going to be the last one, and I don't want it to end, but I love it so much. So everyone should read this, just everyone. It's so good. The next question is, where are you Christmas? I love this song. I love the Grinch. This song is going to be stuck in my head for the rest of the day. But anyway, Where Are You Christmas? A book you want to read immediately that isn't out yet. I mean, this one isn't even written yet, but it is a sequel to Empire of the Vampire, because I read this book this year and I need to know what happens with the rest of the series. So if J. Kristoff could get onto writing the sequel as soon as possible, that would be great. I know he is writing it at the minute. I watched an author event with him for Aurora's End, I think it was, or it might have been the Illumicrate chat for this, and he was talking about writing it, and he said that by the sort of beginning of next year he should have more of an idea of when the second one will be out, because it all depends on how much he's managed to get written by that point. But I just need it like now. I need it soon, because I loved this book and I need to see what happens with the rest of the story. And also the thing is that I read this straight after like binging the entire Nevernight series, so now I'm sort of running out of like J. Kristoff books to read, and that's what's making me want this sequel more. Well, back to negative questions now. The question is, last Christmas, what is a book that you started out loving but didn't end up liking? And unfortunately for me, this one is going to be House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. So I liked the beginning of this book. I really like the setup, I like the atmosphere. It's a creepy book, and I thought that worked really well at the beginning, but I just didn't feel like the payoff was great. I feel like the actual sort of reveals and ending were nothing particularly shocking, nothing amazing. And yeah, I think that it's a very short book, and I think it could have done with being longer and fleshed out more in the ending. So yeah, I started off loving it, but just unfortunately ended up as just a very mediocre 3-star rating for me. And then we have a question I don't actually have an answer for. The question is, Blue Christmas, what is a book that made you cry? I don't tend to cry at books. I'm not that emotional. I get upset by books, but I don't tend to cry. And if I do, it's probably more crying of happiness. So I don't know. I don't have one. Like some of the books that I've already mentioned, like Heartstopper and One Last Stop and things like that, were probably ones that got me in my feels a little bit, but nothing that full on made me cry. So we have one last question, which is a Marshmallow World. I don't actually know this song, but Marshmallow World, name a fluffy book. So for this, I'm going to pick any of these 3. So it is the Brown Sisters trilogy. So we've got Get a Life, Chloe Brown. These are completely in the wrong order. Get a Life, Chloe Brown. Take a Hint, Danny Brown, and At Your Age, Eve Brown. There we go, that looks a little bit better, doesn't it? These are adult romances that are all centred around 3 sisters, so they all kind of interact and overlap with each other a little bit, but you can read them all separately. They all have sort of different tropes in there, so The first one is about a girl who has a near-death experience and then creates a bucket list, and she ends up sort of getting some help with that bucket list with someone who works in her apartment building, and romance inevitably ensues. Then we have the fake dating trope of Take a Hint Danny Brown, where Zaf ends up rescuing Danny from a potentially burning building, and it is filmed and goes viral, so they end up using that to their advantage and doing a fake dating type situation, and again inevitably real romance ensues. And then we have the classic enemies to lovers, which is Act Your Age Eve Brown, where Eve basically goes for a interview at a B&B and goes a bit wrong, and she ends up running over the foot of the owner of the B&B, and basically has to stay and work there and help him out while he is healing, but they do not particularly get on until inevitably romance ensues. They are all just standard adult romances, but they are so fluffy and so cute, and I love them all dearly. I don't know if I have a favourite. I think if I do, it might be controversial. It might be Act Your Age Eve Brown, which I know is not a lot of people's favourite, but I love Eve as a character, so I particularly enjoy that one. But yeah, those are my nice fluffy reads to end this tag on. That is actually all the questions, so I really enjoyed that. Most of the questions were like happy answers, so it was good. It was just those couple where I got a bit irritated in the middle. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff down below. If you haven't done this video and you want to be tagged, I tag you. I don't know who's done it and who hasn't, so I'm just not going to name any particulars. Just say you're all tagged if you would like to do it. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow with a new video. Bye!